Hello and welcome to another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Jamie Johnson, and normally I'm the political and government correspondent, but those folks who have watched Western Wisconsin Journal and its predecessor for almost a decade and a half know that I like to venture into nonprofits and other community-oriented organizations. So I like to do that, and part of that is the belief that maybe government isn't the answer to all of our community's needs. So with that, today we have the unique opportunity to talk to folks from the Hudson Grocery Cooperative. We're going to explain what that is, but let me introduce my guests first. Joining me are Erica Perry and Joe Rouleau. Erica, we'll have you go first. To introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and why you're a member of Hudson Grocery Co-op.
Sure, thank you. My husband and I have lived in Hudson since 2003, but I was born up in the Spooner, Wisconsin area. My father actually was like a commercial butcher for a large corporate grocery store. And just in the past, I've always enjoyed shopping at grocery co-ops. I enjoy their produce, the level of foods they offer, and it's just feels very like homey and community, and people are very friendly and welcoming.
Okay, great. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks.
And Joe Rouleau. Joe, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. I moved down here with my now wife in 2005, but before that, I actually met her at a cooperative in northern Minnesota. They're now in their third store called Natural Harvest Food Cooperative. I used to volunteer there, as a kid in the 90s, and it was an exciting experience. And when I moved down here, I joined a company called Saranda. My family had started, and in 2005 joined them, and we're primarily in the organic and natural food industry. So I've had a fun time learning little bits of that industry. And life happens, you get busy, and I just really kind of missed a piece of me. When I came in here in 2005, I always felt like there was that little void, like, wow, we need a co-op in Hudson, but life happens, you get busy, and here we are, and the rest is, here, so.
Well, great. Yeah. And again, thanks for being on the show and bringing your experiences here. So let's start with, what is the Hudson Grocery Cooperative and what is a co-op?
I'll start just to answer some of those questions. And Hudson Grocery Co-op is a group of similar-minded people from the community. We're local. We come together. We all kind of get into this we're in a startup role, so we're very grassroots, still gaining more owners. We're focused on opening a grocery co-op store, very similar in some ways to a grocery store currently, but also then owned by its owners. So you're buying an ownership. We would really be focused on organic foods, partnering with many local small, potentially our local small farmers, our producers, our orchard growers, the honey growers, all those people out there that are making really great foods and cheeses in the Wisconsin area. It's definitely in the startup stage right now, so we're all involved in a democratic process. And as you buy an ownership share, a one-time fee of $80, you always get a voting ownership, which is one of the principles of the co-op. The original goal of our co-op is to open a community-owned full-service grocery store that offers diverse food choices and focuses on providing products that are organic, regionally sourced. So that's the official goal. Food co-ops typically are very focused on sustainable produce and products. And we definitely tend overall, generally speaking, to keep more of those food dollars that are spent on groceries more in our community. We have higher rates of recycling, and it's just an overall benefit to the local community. There's more money given back into also community events, organizations, and lots of education opportunities. And it's more of a community atmosphere feeling. You're an owner, so you get an input, and you definitely are involved in like store selection, store location, especially since we're in a grassroots startup location. And that's kind of where we're at. We're still in the startup for sure, and definitely thinking about like maybe a full deli. People could buy picnic lunches, like take and bakes for busy families to make, all kinds of opportunities, maybe coffee, smoothie bars, looking for maybe a community kitchen, like everything's on the table right now. So definitely a great time to get involved.
Okay, well, you've got me already sold. In full disclosure, I have already purchased an ownership when I heard about this. And there's several things you said, so I want to kind of break it down. And pardon me if I've got lots of questions, because that's what I do for a living, is I ask people questions. So, like for instance, when you talk about a Hudson Grocery Cooperative, what kind of region are you going to be looking to service?
When the original members started up a few years ago, they definitely were kind of targeting the downtown location. They had lost a grocery store downtown by the riverfront, so people were kind of looking to get a more local food access down there. At this time, we've done one market study, and that's a few years old now too, so things have changed. I'm thinking we're probably definitely going to do another market study. Joe might have a better idea when we hit a certain ownership level and reassess that.
Okay, but you're talking about maybe where the store might be located. I was thinking, like, who would you expect to come to your co-op? Are you expect to pull people from as far away as River Falls or even further, Menominee, Amory?
Yeah.
And part of that may be like, because I don't even know, to be honest, what the closest co-op is to
Yeah,
Hudson.
I could take a stab at this if you want,
Okay.
Erica.
Sure.
Maybe just to point out just what Erica, we're just currently a little over 600 owners, and somewhere around 1,000, I think, is where we get into more of the the fun, and somewhere between now and then is where the magic will start to happen. But to answer, I'll talk on that in a little bit. But to answer more the demographics, I mean, River Falls has a co-op, River Market, community co-op, and then also Stillwater has one. They've both been around since the late 70s, and one of the principles is, cooperate amongst cooperatives. So that's, one nice thing. And we have reciprocity with both of those, and touch on a little bit later. So really the demographics is, somewhere between the middle. It depends where you live, right? If you're a co-op shopper, I suppose if you live halfway between here and River Falls, it's probably more the convenient factor. If I'm going to River Falls or Hudson for something, then, of course that. But as Erica had pointed out, one-time lifetime ownership of $80 gives you that privileges and that voting privileges. So I think once the co-op hits around 800 owners, then we can start to reevaluate that site location. As we know in Hudson, things are changing constantly in the food industry. They're changing even faster. And I know that from the world I work in. So I think we've got to get a little more to that level. So, I mean, our current goal is really get that momentum going again. And that was really the reason why I had joined, Jamie, was we had started slowing down a little bit. And everyone I speak to has been like, oh, what's going on? Why aren't we moving forward? And so that just really, 2020 gave me a chance to slow down. I wasn't at the airport every other week. And I was like, here's an opportunity to come back to something I believe in. And I think once we get around 1,000, then we can transition into more of that next phase and, get a more in-depth market study in, figure out where we need to be, hire a store manager. That's basically, what the board would be doing, is overseeing the manager on behalf of those owners. So there's no cap, on owners. So
Well,
at any time.
and so I get the history a little bit, because I went to your website, which we should mention right now is hudsongrocery.coop with no hyphen in the co-op, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Thank you for that. And so people can go there to learn more. But I mean, some of the things that you've already mentioned about local, community driven, and food grown on small farm. I was raised on a small farm, and we had our own, ate a lot of our own homegrown food, and so that's why I really believe in this. How would this be different? You've kind of explained how it's different from a general grocery store, but like we see our farmers market that's most communities have at least once a week, some it's twice a week. And so how would this work with, say, a farmers market, or is it completely different?
I can start, Erica, if you want, and maybe just pick up. I mean, it's kind of like a year-round farmer market. Obviously, if we can, with as much of local, source food would be coming through there. So I think maybe a little bit in that perspective, it is a convenience as a grocery store to have as well, wherever we do end up being. Some of the benefits, I can maybe just touch on a few. I know Erica had mentioned a couple earlier of, people often wonder, well, what are the benefits of being a co-op owner? We mentioned that, the reciprocity like we have with the two nearby co-ops. And so that's one, you get some other discounts there as well. Educational classes, co-ops, one of the principles is education. One of the things we're going to talk about later is this movie that we want to have a discussion around. That's one form of education. When I was in the co-op, it was you learn everything from making soap to cheeses, beer, whatever. Well, now we've got to do this virtually, right? So that's really an important thing. So tonight we're gonna, is an important time for us to kind of re-kickstart that. Cooperative is really a community that offers empowerment with their owners. Remember, one owner, one vote. I think that's super powerful. Democratic control. Volunteering for me personally is really great because people grow through those experiences. They can generally get a boost in self-esteem and maybe, redefine, maybe their purpose or find a new passion in life. So I think that's the options are limitless there. Ability to, access more food that's locally produced and unique. Also people, being part of this is your store, foods you desire, you get to help determine that. So I often hear people saying, I like the co-op because you can just find the things you can't find in other places. So that's one thing that always resonates with me because I personally feel that too. You can get exposed to new things, but there's of course a higher ratio of local and organic in general in a cooperative grocery store than you would any other store. Awareness for accessing and eating healthier foods and, opportunity, like Erica had pointed out, for you as owners in this community to create this store and develop the store, what our community needs. Not every co-op is exactly the same. It's a unique kind of thumbprint of that community, which I really like too. So Hudson gets to really develop exactly what we need. So I don't know if that answered most of that.
Erica, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, we definitely want to drop a pin into the reciprocity you immediately gain if you join the Hudson Grocery. You can also go to the Stillwater and River Falls co-ops anytime and just tell them you're a member and owner of the Hudson owner, and they'll get the discounts that they're offering or if they have any specials. So that's an immediate benefit. Also, the education classes are going to be great that are coming up. And I think just being part of that community is really valuable.
Okay, well, you had mentioned the idea of I had asked about how it compares to farmers market. And, there was times when if the farmers market's on Saturday morning, but I have an event that's Saturday morning, that means I miss out on being able to get fresh, locally grown, organic food for a whole week. But if we had a store that you could then, go to some other time besides just Saturday morning, then you could be able to have access to that. So I saw that as a huge benefit.
Great point. Yeah.
Now, as far as you mentioned being an owner and getting discounts, is it run like a nonprofit? Are the profits kind of put back into the business, or are there dividends paid, or how does that work?
I can touch on it unless you want to, Erica. Go ahead.
The one thing I'll just jump in and say is the co-op mantra or focus is definitely to keep that money in our co-op and in our community. So it's not like it's looking out for shareholders that are out there that are looking to squeeze every dime out of profit. So that's why you definitely see more donations to community, other activities, and our typical employees get better benefits, usually more benefits and a higher wage than traditional grocery stores. And then that voting, so one vote, one share. It's not, you can't buy more and more shares and get a higher vote like you would for a typical commercially run for-profit business. We definitely are for-profit, and anyone can shop there, even if you're an owner, member, or not. But yeah, go ahead, Joe, if you have.
No, I think you covered it pretty well. I think just an interesting point is, for the economic side of it, that, for every dollar spent, $1.60 is generated for that local economy. And so it's really exciting, not only are the profits staying within HGC, there's that opportunity to really just continue to support the local economy. So.
Is there anything else on that slide you wanted to explain while we have it up?
Erica, I think you had covered on that. Recycling and food waste is a big one too.
Yeah, recycling, very near to my heart. Also, I am always blown away about how those local dollars that are spent at your local co-op stay in the community. They saturate it, they spread around more. It's just like a big return on your investment as opposed to shopping at other places too.
Okay, so you mentioned the cost is, you've got another slide. I'll let you, why don't you explain that?
I didn't know if you wanted to highlight on there. I'd mentioned just that you have that higher ratio of organic and local, produce as well, that are going to generally be there, but just some numbers to reference here. So.
Right. Well, and I guess we don't have to get into huge detail, but some of the obvious ones are, when you are dealing with local foods, when you're not dealing with local foods, then you're dealing with preservatives and things that need to be maybe sprayed on the food in order to preserve its life. And when you're shopping locally like that for locally grown food,
and the general carbon footprint too. The closer you can get something from our community, the less we're spending on that energy. So
that's right. Yeah, less transportation costs and so forth. Absolutely. Okay, so now any other aspects to this because you had mentioned the education. What are some of the examples of ways of topics that you might offer to people who are members that they can learn more about beyond maybe just nutrition?
Yeah, Erica, do you want to take a stab? I mean, I think we share that.
Absolutely. So since we're still in a startup phase, we don't have a brick and mortar store. Pre-COVID, we were doing, I think, 4 winter markets. We were using a local school to offer like a farmer's market during the winter. And those were fun events to, again, offer to local vendors and farmer producers to come in and sell their products to the public. In the past as well, we have done like foraging walks and had author talks that have been very popular. I kind of did a thing where I was like, let's all get together and ring bells for the Salvation Army when they have their big seasonal get out. We've had cookie exchanges, but currently with the COVID, it's definitely slowed down our potential for activities. So we're kind of shifting, I think, to focus more on like Zoom activities. I do share on our Facebook page and Instagram account. A lot of online learning sessions are offered through the Stillwater Co-op and the River Falls Co-op. So I like to alert our membership, or even if you're not a member, you can like our Facebook page or Instagram account, and you can see what's going on out there. And some of those activities include like composting, pruning, like trees and shrubbery, which we may have a little hint dropping in the early spring here for a shrubbery trimming, tree trimming adventure. Lots of cooking demonstrations with local chefs or other people that have food allergies, like gluten and things like that.
Well, thank you for mentioning the food allergies, because that has become a much increasing problem for folks. And so helping promote that awareness and doing whatever we can to limit those allergies, I think is a great thing.
I was going to mention too, just on the note, we talked about, the co-op, really it takes the owners, and the volunteers to really get this going. And it's kind of this fun opportunity, because I know we've got over 600 owners. There's some, I'm sure, talented people that would love to share and express, like Erica had mentioned, the River Market is doing a lot of classes, but there's the opportunity as we get going, we'll seek out, help from our community to say, hey, would you like to help do a class on this or that? I know I just attended one at the River Market for, getting better at using your Instapot, and a person is very passionate about that, and and very educational. So I think there'll be really an opportunity, and I just wanted to point out that we're working on, kind of getting things rolling again, and this engagement through online platform, for education, and it could be really helpful. And watch, when we talk a little more at the end, the plug for the newsletter, we'll try to make awareness in there saying, hey, even if you're not an owner yet, you just want to kind of keep tabs, not sure yet. But hopefully in there, we'll also address like opportunities, like where a lot of people say, well, what can we do to help? Well, if there's somebody that says, I just love making kombucha, I want to teach the world, I want to teach Hudson. Well, whatever, we can embrace that opportunity as well. So it'll be fun. So.
Well, Joe, you mentioned the newsletter. Why don't we bring it up right now? I think that was another, I thought it was just outstanding when I visited your website and started reading, and you've got back issues so people can see, but that's packed full of information. Just talk about that a little bit.
Yes. 1 second. I had it on the full screen. So it comes out once a month, and our intention is to keep that rolling. And I know the people that work behind the scenes on that they do an amazing job, again, volunteers. And I think our intention there on the beat is to keep that rolling and address, people are saying, well, what's the co-op been doing, right? We slowed down a little bit. Well, hopefully this month, the next issue, we will address that a little bit, talk about some of our goals that that we feel are obtainable and will get us back on track. And then maybe in the following month, we'll also say, hey, here's an opportunity to help us. So it's very easy. You can go here, you can see past issues, but also hit subscribe. So you can also just sign up very simply there. And in there, you can also, denote your current status. And if you would like to help and volunteer, of course, we're looking for more owners, but we're not going to turn anyone down from just getting involved. So Erica, anything more to add on that?
Oh, our volunteers that help with that are fabulous. So talented, the writing they do and the knowledge they pull together and put it together. There's some great, for highlight one example, Lindsay did a blog series all last summer and fall about what was in season in your garden or how to use that food or vegetable, fruit, and then recipes with it too. It was very well done.
Well, thank you for that. And I think that some of the articles are fascinating. It's not just news about what's going on within your organization, but it's also helpful tips, and then offers links to maybe other informational sources. And one of the main principles behind the idea of a local co-op with locally grown food is, a huge issue is food safety. It's something that 60 Minutes and other major media shows talk about, but a lot of people feel helpless and like, well, what can I do? Because I only, own a city lot. I can't, grow my own food. But this gives people that opportunity to have access to safer food, and we're learning more and more about links to cancer and so forth with, the mass-produced type of food. I don't know if
I wonder too. Oh, sorry, Jamie, I was going to mention, I wonder if we'll see people that want to get into maybe their passion, some of their hobbies, like, I want to grow more herbs, or I want to, maybe there's been some changes in what they're doing with their employment or something through these, 2020 was a tough year. 2021 is a little bumpy. Obviously, there might be opportunities. People say, I want to take my garden to the next level. How am I going to move my, so who knows what could open up. And I think the co-op can be a big part of, maybe those opportunities and connecting our, the food locally produced into our community.
One question that just popped in my head, I was just curious. I know getting this started, it's going to be hard to be a full, absolute, complete grocery store. You're going to have your specialties, particularly with seasonal produce and so forth. But what would be the intent with regard to meat and meat products? Would there be a butcher yet at the beginning, or is there going to, is that something in the plans?
It's, I suppose, a little soon to know that detail, but Erica, I don't, because I'm kind of newer, but I believe there'll be meat in the store, but as far as a butcher or not, I'm not sure on that detail. Erica, I don't know if you've had any.
I don't have any solid things. Those issues kind of come up when you start to hire your general manager and start the store. But there is a butcher shortage right now, as a lot of people know that are looking for those more smaller, locally grass-fed meats. Butchers are booked for a year or two. So I would see that as a niche and want to kind of capitalize on that a little bit. But also I think, we need to be conscious and aware of people's budgets too. So, having maybe, this is everybody who can join can actually voice their opinion too, but having a budget or a range, I think would be helpful too, for depending on where those people are spending their food dollars and what their budget is like.
Okay, and do you have an annual meeting of all your members, or?
It's in
November, yep.
Okay, in November. So folks have some time before that were to occur. Well, do you have anything more to say generally about HGC and how people can learn more about it before we move into the promotion of your next event?
I think just the plug for, please sign up for the newsletter, Erica, and like us on Facebook if you haven't already, Twitter or Instagram. I know getting a little more popularity. And then again, we're obviously going to be reaching out via the newsletter and Facebook. Watch there for maybe opportunities to help out. So if you're, spring's coming, so maybe we'll have some fun opportunities. So Erica, any?
Yeah, I think, last year we did go to some, socially distanced farmers market and ran a booth out there just so people could see we're still here. We're trying to sign people up. Our current owners, I just really say, hang in there, stay motivated. We're working. Please join us, help us out, get, excited. think about people you can, spread the message to as well, whether it's your networks of like book clubs, photography clubs, garden clubs, church groups, whatever, humans at the dog park that you can talk to, whatever, wherever you interact with people, and just, keep talking us up.
Last one is we've got a relatively new motivated board. It's been fun. I mean, I just joined about 2 months ago, and we're already, I think, doing a lot, with the help of our great committees, and just, encourage people to become an owner. Sooner we get more owners, sooner we're going to have the store. So.
Oh, I think there's great potential for that here in Hudson, and I'm proud to be an owner, and also proud to help promote your upcoming event, because you talked about getting the word out and promoting things. Let's talk about, you have an event coming up on February 25th. Why is the co-op, what is the event, and why is the co-op sponsoring it?
So the co-op is sponsoring, it's kind of like fitting into one of those education or just keeping the community aware of what's going on, movie viewing and then discussion. If people are interested, and you do not have to be an owner or member, but you do need to watch the movie ahead of time. It's called The Right to Harm, and it's costs $4.99. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. It discusses the current situation. It highlights really the public health impact of CAFOs, and those are concentrated animal feeding operations. And the movie actually is a documentary, and it specifically actually talks about like 3 to 4 Wisconsin communities that are dealing with this issue right now, and the impacts that these really dense packed feeding lots or egg producing poultry lots are having on the local communities. That could possibly be, affecting their water, their air quality, and their quality of life, impacting their bridges and roads. And then kind of like shows and explores how, our government agencies are helping, or maybe, kind of getting in the way of these communities that are banding together to try to, keep their property safe, keep their families safe, keep their health safe as well. So it really does a nice job, and it's well done. We have on our Facebook page an opportunity. You can go there and see how to watch the movie. It'll take you to a link to watch it. It's through Vimeo. And also there's a Zoom link that you just need to click on as well to pre-register for the discussion that will be on February 25th at 7 p.m. You've offered to moderate that for us, which I'm thankful for. The movie is really well done, and it's beautifully filmed, if nothing else. And it kind of shows some really small local family farms too that are doing the best they can to survive, and then how there's impacts to them as well from larger corporations that come in. So there's lots of angles to it, lots of twists, but definitely something that's really good for the community to know, because in this area with the water runoff, and if things do get polluted, it can affect Lake Superior, and also the St. Croix River could be impacted by this as well. So.
Great. So the name of the movie is Right to Harm.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned your Facebook page. What is the Facebook page? How do people find it? Just
Hudson Grocery Co-op.
Okay.
Is the Facebook.
And we had mentioned and promoted your website. Is there also a link on the website, or is it only through the Facebook page to learn how to view the movie?
Right now, I think the easiest way to access it is through Facebook. Our owners also did receive an email blast kind of telling them about the upcoming event too, so that might have been in your junk email. And okay. Yeah.
We'll probably hit connected again on the newsletter, I'm sure, right? About a week.
In the beat that comes out in February here before the event, there should be another reminder and information on how to do it. So.
Yeah, I might not be different from a lot of people. I need kind of a reminder maybe about 10 days before. You got to watch the movie before the discussion part. But
yep. There is a invite set up through Facebook that I think would offer those reminders too.
Okay, so it does cost money to watch the movie, but it does not cost anything to participate in the discussion on February 25th.
No, it's $4.99, and most smart TVs, or if you have a Roku, or you can watch it like right from your stream it for your laptop. It's once you pay for it, I think you have 48 hours to view it. And it's a good, I have actually watched it. I'll rewatch it as well, but I enjoyed it. I found it to be interesting.
And do you know about what year that movie was made?
2019, was it? I think just a year and a half. Or
It's within the last year or two.
And
Yeah.
you said it was a lot of it was filmed in Wisconsin?
It is actually.
Okay.
There's stuff down at the Capitol in Madison.
Okay, great. So you've told us what the movie's about, and oh, you mentioned the length of the movie is what, about an hour and a half, you said?
Yep.
Okay. That's at least less than the Titanic, right?
Yes.
Okay. And and then what do you expect the discussion that I will be helping moderate? How long do you anticipate that to be?
I think we booked out the link for Zoom for 2 hours, depending on
Right. And we expect to start that when? At what time on the 25th?
7 o'clock.
Say it again?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Very good. Well, and I think it's a great opportunity for people to learn. And it's just, again, this is an example of something that at least gives you insight to the food chain, if you will, and how food is grown and distributed and so forth, and then all the regulation that's behind it and the impact that communities can or should have in some say in how that happens. So anything else you want to say about the movie or your organization?
I just hope that we can have a nice holistic conversation on it, and that's part of community, right? To just put, those topics down and, learn together and discuss that. So I look forward to the event on the 25th and hopefully helping guide us too for what kind of future events we can, start putting out there for our community. So.
Very good.
Erica, anything else if you can put?
Nope.
Erica and Joe, thank you very much for being on the show. Thank you for your roles and your hours of volunteering for this organization, and just wish you the best of luck in growing it. I think if we can play any role in help promoting it and growing it and making it a reality, it's going to be something that will benefit all of the Hudson community, not just the members or owners of the co-op. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you too, and the River Channel, and for getting behind us. So.
Absolutely. And I want to thank our viewers for watching another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Jamie Johnson, and keep watching.